All right, so we've got our three stacked walls. This is the exterior wall of the house. It has a basement, a first floor, and a second floor wall, plus the what I call the bond area, which is where the floor joists sit. This is the wall between the house and the garage. It has a basement, a first floor, and a second floor wall. It was constructed differently because it's the wall between the house and the garage. So we won't find any brick on that on the inside of this wall because it's an interior wall. It's inside of the house. It's protected from the elements. Whereas on the outside of the house, we're trying to keep the elements out of the house itself. And so the brick is a nice material to put on there, but we don't need to put brick inside the garage wall because it's an expensive material to put up. It's unnecessary. And so that is why we have a different wall construction. Our stacked wall is slightly different from the wall around the house. And then finally, we have our exterior garage wall, which has no basement underneath it. So there is no basement wall. And now it's time to take a look at the bubble diagram and kind of start laying out I put the first 2x4 stud walls with gypsum board on both sides. And the gypsum board is either 1/2 inch or 5/8. That's up to you. But on this wall, it will have to be 5/8 on this side of the wall because that's a fire requirement, 5/8 type X fire code drywall. Which, in the event that there is a fire in the garage, the wall will retard the transfer of that fire into the house. It won't do it forever, but it will do it for a certain period of time. And that's why that wall was built this way. So we have to have 5/8 on this wall, on this side of the wall, but we don't have to have it on this side if you prefer 1/2 inch gypsum board. That's up to you. So anyway, I put the powder room in here, and I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to need two more walls. So I'll just copy these walls over, copy, and I could have hit the multiple copy. I didn't, so I'll click that now, and I'll copy that over one more time. And so now I have my walls in there, and I'm not really too concerned about where I place those walls because I'm in a dimension. So we're going to start this wall. This line that we're seeing is the basement wall, the inside face of the basement wall. So that's the gypsum board. And I'm just going to dimension all the way across here. Make sure I go to the gypsum board and not, because there's no floor here to block the view of the basement wall below. All right, so there I've placed my dimensions in there. 6 feet is fine for the powder room. The dining room, maybe I want to make that, 14 feet. All right, then I have my foyer. Maybe I want to make that 12 feet. Notice I'm clicking on the wall that I want to move. When I change my dimension by clicking on this number, I'm going to change that to 12 feet. Now, Revit would not know which wall I wanted to move if I tried to change the dimension by clicking on it. So we always click on the object that we want to move, and then we can change the dimension and watch what happens. That's the wall that moves to make that. And now my library, maybe I want my library to be 12 feet. I'm clicking on a stacked wall. When you click on a stacked wall, if you want to you have to activate the dimensions instead of just clicking on them. These dimensions did not need to be activated, but a stacked wall does. So I'm going to say 12 feet for that. Okay, so there basically is my first layout here based on my diagram, my bubble diagram. I'll just copy this wall over to here, and then let's put in a dimension now, just to see what do I want this dining room to be. And 16 feet is probably okay. So I'll change that by clicking here, 16 feet, all right? So there's my wall, and this is my foyer. And over here, I'll copy this again, move it over to here. And so just to kind of clean it up, I use the trim extend. I still call that the fillet command from the old AutoCAD days. So it's fillet or extend trim, and you just click on the objects that you want to extend and trim, and then it cleans them up, and it even cleans up the corners quite nicely as well. It's not necessary to do this step, but I like to do it because it helps me. It doesn't mean that that's where the walls are going to stay, but it helps me to see these different rooms. Okay, so now I'll put in a dimension this way, making sure that I click on the gypsum board and click on the gypsum board. And 12 feet's fine for this 12 by 12. It's a small library. Then we'll put the stairs in here. So let's say I'm going to need 6 feet for the stairs. So I'll copy that back this way. And then I'm going to need a powder room, but that's going to be an outside wall because that's the outside of the house. So I'll simply copy this down because it's already set to the correct constraints. Okay. And so that means probably that this is going to clean up this way. Click on this guy, click on this guy. And for some reason, it doesn't want to clean those walls up. So I'll just drag this guy straight down here and try it again. Let's see what happens. Now Revit cleaned it up. Okay, and I'll just click that unjoin and don't pay any attention to that. So this is where my stairs are going to be. This is where my powder room is going to be, probably. So let's put in a dimension from here to here. And then from here, making sure I hit the gypsum board this time, and there to there. I'm going to say the stairs need to be 6 feet, so I'll change that dimension to 6 feet. And then my powder room, let's make that 6 feet as well. Now I'm going to move a stacked wall, so I have to go back over and activate the dimensions and make that 6 feet. All right, so I'm starting to get it laid out. Stairs. Now, this wall is an exterior wall as well, so let's grab that, copy it over to here, and then let's line it up. I want the gypsum board. It's not clicking on the outside face of the gypsum board for my align tool, so I'm going to hit the tab key until it selects what I want, and then I'll come over here and do the same thing, hit the tab key until it selects what I want. And I think that's kind of how I want those walls to be. So back up to the fillet command, extend trim, clean these two walls up and clean these two walls up, and then now I have I'm starting to put my rooms in here. What's going on over here is a laundry room. That is going to be one of these walls, since the constraints are hopefully already set properly. The bottom is the top of the first floor, and the top is at the top of the first floor wall. So let's dimension that real quick, making sure I pick the gypsum board. Yeah, there's no basement wall visible there. And over to here, and let's see. I'll put an island in the middle, 2 feet, and 4 and 4 is 8 for walkway. That's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So probably 14 feet is pretty good for the width of the laundry room. It might seem a little generous, but no one will ever complain about having a large laundry room. And here, I'm going to put in another one of these walls. This might not be the right spot, so maybe I should wait. So my hallway here, I'll make that 5 feet wide. So I need some kind of circulation there. Measure it. Now I can click on this, edit the extension line, and it'll continue to go across. It'll continue that same dimension line. The reason that that's important is if I want to move it, now that it's all connected, they all move at the same time. We could also do this with the automatic dimension, but so far I found the automatic dimensioning to be a little quirky, and sometimes it takes more time to go back in and fix up the little quirks in automatic dimensioning than it does to just do it manually like this. So I still do it this way. So let's assume that this is the correct location of the gypsum board there, and I want it to line up here. So I'm just hitting the tab key until Revit selects what I want. I kind of hover my mouse over where I want the selection to be. You can see that it didn't work. I consider this to be where I want the wall, and so I'm going to tab until I get that in now, cleaned it up. Now look at what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing now that this wall has a different size gypsum board on it than this wall does. So that was a mistake on my part. I should have, when I made my stacked wall, I should have made that 5/8 inch gypsum. Or when I made these walls, I should have made them 1/2 inch gypsum. But I can see that I really have to fix that and clean it up. But we'll stay with just laying out the house for now. There's always time to go back and clean up the little bits that need to be cleaned up later. All right, so what's left? Well, I need to put a kitchen and a breakfast nook. So if I have a 2-foot island and a 5-foot walkway, that's 7 feet, and a 4-foot island, that's 11 feet, and a 5-foot walkway, that's 16 feet, and a 2-foot countertop, that's 18 feet or 19 feet. I guess I'll have to do the math again. 2 and 5 is 7, 11, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so I'm on 18 feet. So I'll just copy this guy over to here and measure. And I can actually do that again. That should be 18 feet. I'm editing the witness line, so now I can click over here, and I can click over here, and I can click over here, and I can click over here. Make sure to get the gypsum board and not the basement below. Okay, so we can see that I said this had to be 18 feet. So I'm going to click on this wall and change it to 18. And clearly this living room is not going to be good at 10 feet. So I can click on my stacked wall, activate the dimension, and let's make that, let's see, how about 18 feet? All right, that pushes it way back there. So I'm probably going to have to do something here. What I've done in previous, really the stairs probably belongs over here, but they're both 6 feet, so that'll work. Anyway, there we go. So far, so good. I'm going to grab this guy and drag him all the way back. So there's my kitchen and my breakfast nook. And this one, I'm going to drag him over. So I'm going to say align with this wall. This gypsum board aligns with tab, tab, until it hits. Okay, so now that lines up. And so there we go. There's my first floor. Now let's take a look at this thing needs to be cleaned up. The next thing I want to do, well, let's clean this little corner up too. Okay. That looks pretty good. So let's say that, let's clean these up. I'm going to make this the stairs because I can have my stairs open to the living room. This might be a little bit too much in terms of depth, but we won't worry about it now. And now the next thing I'm going to do before I go any farther is the first people to actually start constructing the house are the basement folk. Okay, they're going to put the basement in first. So we want to make the dimensions easy for them. And I generally try to constrain my basement dimensions to a 2-inch increments. So let's put this guy in right here. I'm going to measure from here all the way across to here. And that shows me that it's 47 foot 1 3/4. So that's 47 foot 0, 47 foot 2, 47 foot 4, 47 foot 6, and so on are acceptable dimensions to me, but 47 foot 1 3/4 is not. So I'm going to click on my stacked wall, and I'm going to activate the dimension, and I'm going to just change that to 47 feet 2. Because the basement guys have always told me whenever I go out to the job site, they say, you know, you feel lucky if we are within 2 inches of your requirements there, which means the carpenters have to change something up above there. So I try to give them the 2-inch increment there. Hopefully they'll be able to stick with that. Now when we look at this guy, I'm going to dimension this way. Let's see what we have. All right, I have 26 foot 9, but I really want equal inches. So I'm going to click on that, activate the dimension, and we're going to have 26 feet 10. Okay, so that's good. And then let's take a look at, well, maybe I might work my way across this way. So this line right here is the basement wall, so I can start my dimension from here. And then I'm going to go over to this guy. And then I'm going to go all the way over to this guy. We're looking at outside dimensions now. And then this guy, and I'm going to click up here and say, okay, what's going on here? So if I move this wall, I'll activate the dimensions and then change that to 14'6". And then this is going to be 38'4". How am I going to do that? Well, if I click on this wall to move it so that that's an even number, that's going to change this one. So I'm going to click on this one, activate the dimensions, and instead of 38'4½", I'm going to just make it 38'4". Okay, that's good. And what does it leave me with? 4'9¾". So now I'm going to have to move that wall I'm going to have to move this wall in order to achieve my 49'10". So I'll activate the dimension, change that 4'9¾ to 4'10". But that changed this down here. So now that means that this wall has to move this way. Activate the dimension, and I'm going to change it back to 41'2". What that did was when I made all of these dimensions even inches, I had to move this wall in order to make these even inches, but then that messed up this dimension, so then I had to come back and change this wall. So now let's start right away here by aligning my gypsum board here and here. So now my walls are in the right place, except let's see, now I got to put this basement wall in. So let's see what we have here. How is that going to be? Hopefully that's a even number, and it's not. So now I have a problem here, because now if I change this, it's going to change that. And the reason is that these basement walls don't line up. They're actually usually off by about an inch. So this line right here and this line right here, there's my 5/8 of an inch. So I can move this guy 5/8 of an inch, but then my gypsum's not going to line up. But I am going to move it, and the reason I'm going to move it is the basement guys aren't going to accommodate me. So I'll change that to 6 inches. They're not going to get that odd number. So now the carpenters are going to have to put in a little bit of furring on this wall here. So it's going to have to be a 5/8 of an inch thicker. Maybe they can just put another layer of gypsum board at that spot. But okay, so now we got one left to go. From here to, let's try that again. Dimension from here up to here. What do we have? Oh, that's no good either. Okay, so that means I have to take 1/8 of an inch in this direction. Click on this guy, activate the dimensions, and take out that. So I get an even 10 inches there. So now this guy's going to have to move to line up. So I'll align these two guys. Tab until I select what I want, then tab until I say I want those two aligned. We might be able to fix that with the changing of the thickness of the walls here, but we want the outside is what we're really concerned about. All right, so now the trench guys are going to, after the basement's backfilled, the trench guys are going to come in, and we want these to be even numbers too. What they're going to do is just dig a trench where we want the footing to be, and they will dig that trench, pour concrete into the trench, and that will be the footing. There won't be any basement underneath here. All right, so we're getting really close to having the outside laid out pretty good. Let's see what we have, what changes we still have to make here. All right, I can't move this wall, or can I move this wall? Are these walls lined up? Let's see. Well, I'm going to actually continue it, edit my witness line, and continue it so that it comes all the way up to here, because I didn't do that. All right, so the first one to move is going to be this guy. It's going to be 1/8 of an inch in this direction. So activate dimensions, change that to 8'8". And that means that, just to double check to make sure that those walls line up, so they don't. So I have to move this wall as well. These walls are different types and they're not connected. So I have to edit the dimension, change that to 8'8". delete, enter. Okay, that's looking good. Now what about this guy? 24 foot, I'll make it 24 foot 8. Activate the dimension, change that just up to 8 inches. And now this guy's going to change by 13 feet 4. Looks good to me. We'll change that. Activate the dimension. We'll change that to 13 feet 4. And I got 7 foot 1. So now I got a problem there. All right. So let's see. I'm going to have to move this guy out another inch. So I'll do that. Activate the dimensions. I can move it back. I'll just make it 7 feet even. All right. And now let's activate this dimension or edit the witness line so we get that continuous sky here. And if I take an inch out of here and add an inch to here, then everything's going to be fine. So let's do that. I'm going to click on this wall right here, activate the dimensions. I'm going to make that 27 feet. Okay, so now I have all of my my outside house is fine on the first floor. My inside house is fine. We don't care. We're not concerned about having odd inches on the inside because the wall thicknesses are not correct to begin with. I mean, the wall thicknesses are not going to give us even numbers. So obviously some of these rooms can have odd inch dimensions. All right, so I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to say select all instances in the entire project and just hit delete just to get rid of them for now. So what I have made is a slightly different room tab. I'm going to clean this guy up right here. So I've made a slightly different room tag than what's available in Revit, and I've provided that to my one of my classes in an email, and that's really who I'm making this video for right now because that's where we're at. So I'm going to go up to architecture and I say room, and so now I'm going to actually make rooms here. They have to be enclosed spaces. So I'm making a room here and a room here and a room here and a room here. But this will select everything because there isn't any separation there. So what I want to do is, let's see, where do I put that room separator? Let's see if I can find it here. Actually, so the room separator is on the architecture tab, and really what I want to do here is basically just draw some room separators because we can't make a room that doesn't have a separation. In other words, it has to be an enclosed entity, but I don't want it to be defined by that entire open space. So let's see, go back to my room separator. We don't have to show these on our model, but we have to show it to Revit. So I'm going to draw my room separator across to there and then use the align tool. Modify tab, align. I'm down to the tab. I don't like to pick the ends of walls. I like to pick the actual wall itself. So I move over so I don't confuse Revit. And there's my room separator now. Okay, so now this is an enclosed entity. And let's say, back to the architecture tab, room separator. And I'm going to come across from here over to here. And then let's see if I can use my extend, trim, or fillet tool to clean that up. Okay, so I go back to the architecture tab. I have a couple more rooms to put in. I didn't put one here. I didn't put one here. And I guess I could put this one in too. And we don't have to label the stairs for now. All right, so now I'm going to go over to my room tag. And the standard room tag is just the room tag. But I have a room tag that has length and width, that I've customized that room tag. So watch what happens when we use that room tag. Here, I'm going to come over here, and I always try to click on that little dot, that intersection there. So let's see what happens. We'll zoom in and take a look at what kind of information I'm getting here instantaneously from Revit. So I realize I don't have a back hall closet, and I definitely need that. But for the beginning here, this is pretty good. Okay. And notice that it's giving me room names, room number. It's giving me a name called room. I can go back in and change that in a second. But it's also telling me exactly the dimensions, and it's telling me the area. So this is the laundry. So I just click on that. Make sure to use caps. Laundry. Click on that. That's going to be my kitchen breakfast. And this is my living room. Call it a great room or living. Great room is probably a better choice. This is the back hall. This is the powder room. I might use some more space there to get my back hall closet. This is my dining room. And this is the foyer. Okay. And this is the powder room. And this I'll also put my closet here, my guest closet over here. And this is the office. Okay. So maybe I will annotate the stairs. So I'm going to put a room. Generally, that's a good idea to do. I'm going to put a room right here. And then I could also do it automatically, but we'll call that the stairs. All right, so that looks pretty good for the beginning. So now I'm going to save it. And now let me make a schedule so we can take advantage of what information we have here. So what I've done is I've made a schedule of all of the rooms. You can see that they're all listed here. This is my actual room schedule. I made it as a room schedule, and I said I want, in the fields, I want to be included my number, the room number, then the name of the room, then the area of the room, and then the perimeter of the room. I don't need to know the perimeter of the room, but I do because I had to make some formulas in order to get the length and the width dimensions included in my schedule. But anyway, this is what's important to me in the room schedule, and that's the square footage. So we zoom in here. It's telling me the square footage. It's calculated it automatically. If I were to drag this room out to here, it's going to, let's see what happens there. Okay, it's not enclosed, so I'm going to undo that. I picked the absolute wrong room, but if I grab all of these and let's say I just drag them down to here, the sizes are going to change. We can't see that because I have my view cropped, so we can't see the end of it here. But if I drag it down now, we'll be able to see. And so all of my square footage has changed automatically. And the reason that's important to me, I'm going to undo that because I don't need my rooms to be that size. But this is important to me because I need to know right now, generally as an architect, my client's going to give me some sort of range of what the size of their house is to be. You know, it might be 2,000, 3, 4, 10, 20. The largest house I did was 45,000 square feet. But if I know that if say 4,000 is my goal and my first floor is 23, and I'm assuming that much of my second floor is going to be over the first floor, then I'm probably need to change that. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over here to annotate, and I'm going to draw a region, a filled region. And I got a pretty good idea that my house is not going to, my second floor is not going to be on top of the living room. So I'm just drawing a filled region to get an idea. If I say, all right, my entire house, let's even cover the, all right, so let's say that's you'll see in a second here, that's where my second floor is. Well, it's telling me it's 2,083 square feet. So I might take a little bit out of the I might take a little bit out of the foyer because I don't need to. So I'm going to edit the boundary and say, maybe let's see if I can move this guy over. I can't see the floor right now. But anyway, and then I'm going to split this guy and then fill it or edit trim again here and here, here and here. And let's see what happens then. Yeah, I kind of got it. So maybe this part of the foyer will be open. So now I'm at 1975 and 23. So I add those two together and I'm still several hundred square feet above what I'm supposed to be. So let's say that this guy goes all the way back to here. And let's say that this guy goes all the way back to here. And then if I want to be tricky, I would say, well, let's not count the stairs because as the second floor square footage. But right now I'm down to 1784. So if we take 1784 plus 2323, I'm at 4,100 square feet. So I would probably do that. I would edit the boundary and bring this guy down and across and then fill it these two and say okay. Now I'm down to 1739 and see, I'm still going to be 4,100 square feet. So where can I take some more square footage out of? There's really no place to do it. It's a 4,100 square foot house. So that would tell me, okay, I'm going to need to maybe take a little square footage out of the first floor in order for that to work. So what if I move this back to there? Now I'm 1710. And if I move this back a foot, the first floor back a foot, 2279. Let's do the math on that one. 2279 plus, what's my area here? 1710. 2279. 1710. Now I'm at 3989. So, all right, let's be honest here and pull this guy down to here. And so my, this is my filled region. We do that from the annotate tab, filled region, and just filled region right there. And so now this is essentially where my second floor house can exist for me to be within that range. Now I'm double checking it, 2279 plus the filled region area is right over here, 1728. 4,007 square feet, and that's close enough, definitely close enough. So now if a client had told me that they wanted it to be, oh, I can actually steal a little more over here. It looks, no, I'm in the right spot there. Okay, yeah, so that looks good. We don't necessarily have to count the stairs as square footage on both floors. And so I'm gonna come up the stairs. I'm gonna have a bedroom here, a walkway across here, master bedroom here, master bath and closets over here, and try to fit 2 more bedrooms over here, which I can see is going to be a difficult thing to accomplish. I can't put another bedroom right here because there's no windows. Bedrooms have to have windows. So all right, so let's just sketch what I'm thinking here originally. That's going to be the MBR, master bedroom, master bath. This is the stairs that come up like that. This is going to be another bedroom over here. And this is the walkway. And then I need to have 2 more bedrooms over here, which is going to be tough to get decent sized bedrooms in here in that square footage. But that gives me an idea of how I want my second floor to lay out. So I've used my dimensions to lay out the first floor, kind of get it where I want it to be. I still might have to move it around to make these bedrooms work, but so far that looks pretty good to me. So now I would go up to the second floor and start putting these walls in. All right, I've opened up my second floor plan. I'm going to try to put those rooms in real quick as I can remember them. And so I need to know where my first floor walls are. So I go over to the properties box and I have my underlay, and I'm just going to say, show me the first floor as an underlay. And so now I know where the walls in the first floor are. So I'm drawing on the second floor. I'm going to put a wall in, architecture wall, and the base constraint will be the second floor, and it'll be up to the second floor ceiling, or top of second floor wall is better. Okay, so now when I put my walls in, that's where they're going to be. Change my resolution to fine, and now let's start putting in some walls. One's going to line up here, so I'll just grab that. Oh, so I'm centering it. See up here in the constraints, it says core center line, and I don't want that. So I'm going to go back to wall again. Let's show the constraints, top of second floor. Constraints are good, but I want to change the finish face, interior or exterior. It doesn't really matter. But now when I draw a line, it's going to be the outside face of the house, or of the wall. Okay, put a wall down there. I think that these two guys should align, so I'm going to align this with this, and then I can drag it down a little bit more. That really should be a 2x6 wall, because it's really an exterior wall. And I'll do the same thing over here. Architecture wall, come over here. But for now, I'm going to just bring it in like that. And I'm going to go back to the Modify tab, use my fillet, or as Revit calls it, trim extend. So now I have my master bedroom. Here I can't go any farther than there. So architecture wall, I'm going to put another wall in right here. Notice it's on the wrong side because of the direction that I'm drawing it. So I just click it like that, and that flips it. And then let's go across here. And we only need to get into both bedrooms, so I'll just try to steal some space there. This hallway should be at least 42 inches wide, but it normally should be wider than that, except that I know I'm going to have a hard time laying out these two bedrooms. All right, that's just from experience, but I'm going to just draw a wall right here. Okay, now we'll draw another dimension. I'm going to dimension from this face to the center line of this wall to the inside face of here. And I'll just put those right here and say, make it equal. So now each one of those are 10 foot. I guess I didn't pick the right spot. Well, let's see if I can drag that guy over to the midpoint. I don't think I can, but let's see if I can. There we go. Equal, equal. There we go. So now I 10 foot 3 3/4. Those are small bedrooms. I'm going to need to get a door into this bedroom. So I'll come across here to here. And I need at least, say the door is 3 feet wide. Let's make it 2'6" wide with 6-inch returns. 2'6" plus, so 3'6". This dimension has to be 3'6". That will allow me to put a door in here with 6-inch returns on each side. I could probably get away with less. And then my last wall that I'm going to put in, and we'll call it end of this demonstration because it is getting pretty long. Architecture wall. It's still my 2x4 wall. Constraints are still in the right spot. Let's go across here. It's on the wrong side. Click the space bar and come down to here. I didn't pick it exactly right, so let's use the Align tool. I have added the Align tool to my quick access toolbar. so I can grab it that way too. Just drag this wall down to there. And basically, now I have the ability to put my room tags in. Let's see, annotate room. So that's the master bedroom. That's a bedroom. I have to have a bedroom, 2 bedrooms and at least 1 bath over there. So this is really going to be a challenge. I'm probably going to have to steal some space from here. But for now anyway, tag the room. And now we'll change that. That's going to be, change the name to master. BR number 2. Okay. BR number 3. Okay. And we'll make that BR number 4. Okay. So there is a walkway here, which is square footage. So let's put a room separator in there. I don't think I need to see that underlay anymore, so let's turn it off. There's my second floor, and I'll put in a room separator, maybe from here to there, and we'll keep going with it. This will make sense in a second. Room separator, maybe the stairs. All right, I'll come over to here for now. And maybe down a little bit. No, I don't need to go down a little bit. So let's delete that. I don't think I put a room separator in there. So let's just go straight across with it. Doesn't have to be inside the wall. So I'm going to see, can I align these two together? That's probably going to align to the outside here. Okay. We don't have to join the elements. How's this looking? Let's just pull this back to right there. And this guy as well. I want to pull this guy back to here. I just need an enclosed space. And we'll put a room in here. And we're going to architecture room tag. And we'll call it a bridge. It's actually circulation as well. All right. Last thing is to go back and look at the schedule. I have all of my square footages now, 3830. So I'm not sure exactly why that's smaller than we calculated before. But anyway, we'll be able to modify. Never, it didn't take a very long time to get the first and second floor laid out. But now I would go back and fine tune everything and keep checking my square footages. But I looks pretty good there. I go to my second floor. Yeah, so maybe I can add some more space. I can go over the garage to get some more square footages because I think we're in good shape here. This is really bad. This is 10 feet wide. That's really, really bad. So as far as square footages go. But anyway, let's stop the recording here because that's a pretty long one.